Did it not record none of that shit? Really? It didn't record my intro? Oh well, that's fine. You guys don't get to see the turbo dick, I guess. Oh, what the fuck is going on? It's a little bit dark. On or off? It's a little bit darker, but it doesn't like do the orange thing. We'll go on. I'm a bad boy. It is almost fucking 10 Pacific time. Jesus. Got up late, man. Got up late. I was up late last night. Late last night. I went for a walk down by the river near my home. Couldn't believe with my own eyes, but I swear I'll never leave my home again. I think that is my favorite CCR song. Very underrated. It is weird. It is unlike the other shit. It is creepy. And fucking the last half of the song, he just busts out into this fucking outrageous guitar and drum duo. Oh man, it's so good, so good. Walk on Water, I think it's called, or Walking on Water, or Walk on the Water, something like that. All right, the topic of the day today is, I've been fucking with that Chat GPT. I've been fucking with that shit. Oh, but what day is it today? Today is Saturday. Tomorrow is Easter Sunday. I'm not gonna be filming tomorrow. Not gonna film tomorrow. Also not film, live stream, I guess. Part of the reason why I like this setup is because I could be lazy. I don't have to go and edit my shit in the studio. See, there I go with the orange. That's what I'm talking about. Oatmeal on my teeth and shit. I don't have to mess with the editing studio or the software and stuff, which takes more time. And let's call it what it is. I'm lazy. You know, if I get this rolling, I might upgrade my shit. I learned people don't really care about the setup all that much. You know, the audio quality, the video quality. They don't care too much about that. I don't know. I'm just going to do my own thing here on this channel. Wife made the coffee this morning. She got up before I did. Oh. So, tomorrow. Oh, fuck. I really hate them so much. Yeah, so tomorrow we're going over to a family friend's house. I've referenced them many times before. So, you know, it's time to introduce them a little bit. I know they probably wouldn't want me to. Actually, I know damn well they wouldn't want me to air out their dirty laundry. But how do I say this? You can't really talk about them without airing out their dirty laundry, just because of their family dynamic and the way they work. I'll try to be as respectful as I can towards them, but I'm going to be very careful and omit a lot of information. It is a family. It is our family friends. I have known them for a very long time. The head of the household is a mother. Her name's Corinne. She's a very nice woman. We love her dearly. She was my mother's best friend before my mother passed. And after my mom, just absolutely, the two were inseparable. They loved each other to death, like sisters. They had both they both have sisters. My mother and her two sisters, my aunts, and then Corinne. She's got some sisters too. Their family dynamic is almost as bad as mine. But they have both told each other that they view each other more as sisters than their actual sisters. They loved each other dearly. And when my mom passed, Corinne took it probably harder than anyone else. I can't even, well, no, I can now. There was a time where I couldn't even bring up my mother in conversation without Corinne going in tears. She just misses her so much. It was her best friend. It was their best friend. They were both old bitches, in their 50s, going on 60s now. But my mother passed away when she was 56. Corinne was a little bit younger than her. But she's going on 60 now. And yeah, when my mom went, that was, it was a life-changing event. It was a life-changing event for me too, for sure. New perspective on things and everything, but I don't know. But to Corinne, it was definitely different than it was for me. And so before my mother's passing, I would go over there all the time. Sometimes I'd go over there to see my mother because the two of them were inseparable. And sometimes I would go over there just to kind of hang out with everyone else. And, I've known them for a long time. Corinne and her son was closer to my age. Not really. He was a bit younger than me. When I was like 15, he was like 13. When I was like 18, he was 15. And, so there was an age gap there, but, I still hung out around him, enough. He was never really like a good friend of mine because of the age gap. And then when we both got to be adults, when he, was turning 18 and 19, and he was around that age, I was, 20, 21. It's just an age gap. It was unfortunate. By the time that age gap closed, when we both got older, like in our like mid 20s and stuff like that, when it didn't really matter that he was 3 years younger than me, our interests diverged. So, but I've known him for a very long time. Her son, Chris, very, very long time, ever since I was like 11, 12, and he was like 8. I remember going over to their house and shit like that back in the day. And just being at awe how much of a spoiled brat he was because he had all the video. Like, I was the guy that people would come to my house and look at my toys and my video game wall and be like, whoa. I would go to his house and I would be that kid. I was like, wow, look at all this stuff. He had the Super Scope 6, the Super Nintendo, and he had a Sega Genesis, and he was just a spoiled brat. He treated his shit like junk. He like threw it across the room and shit. I remember thinking, oh my God, how could you treat your stuff like this? It's because she'd just buy him a new one if he did. Anyway, so, that's them. It's Corinne, the mother. Chris, he's in his 30s and he's balding. He's always been the young one, but he still lives in the house, yes. And then we got the man of the house. They don't like to say that. They don't like to admit that, but he's the man of the house. We got Corey. It's he's not Chris's father. Corinne has been married several times, and it is what it is. She's been with Corey though for like fucking more than anyone else though. Now it's been years. I'm gonna ask when I go over there on Easter Sunday. How long have they been together for? Because it's been a hot minute now, like at least a decade before I met Stacy. So that's got to be at least 25 years. They've had like a rocky relationship though, so I don't know if they reset the clock. They definitely could have reset the clock a couple of times. And then there's the grandmother, Corinne's mother, Susan, who technically owns the house. It's hard to say how well she's doing. She's older. She's not quite 80. She is with it. She is with it. She is fucking with it. I love Susan so much. Susan is not your atypical old broad. I say broad, right? Like she reminds me of she looks like Susan from Red Dead Redemption 2. Straight the fuck up. Straight the fuck up. The hair, the way she dresses, her fiery fucking demeanor. Straight the fuck up. Susan is Susan from Red Dead Redemption 2. She is not an atypical old lady. She swears all the fucking time. She really likes to talk about sex. And she's not like an old whore or anything like that either. She's been married. She's been married a couple times. Man, wild shit. Very fun to talk to. Every time you talk with one of them, it's so weird. Every time they're always fighting. All of them, every one of them, every time. They try to keep it cool at the dinner table, but there's always family drama there. Usually it's Chris that everybody is fighting against. But sometimes the alliances are different. We try to stay out of it. Again, I don't really want to air out their dirty laundry, tell you why they're fighting and shit like that. But they're a good family. They're good to people. They're just not very good to each other, which is very sad and unfortunate because I love all of them. Susan's fucking great. Corinne's fantastic. Chris is a good kid. And Corey, surprisingly, he's a solid dude. I like all of them. But they fight among each other so much. I feel bad because I just want them to get along. But nonetheless, so we're going over there. We're going over to the Madhouse on Easter Sunday because we don't have anywhere else to go. No, we got a couple of places to go, but we choose to go over there because it is like home to us. I'm gonna block the number so you can't see it, but on the caller ID, can you see it? Oh shit! Oh, there you go. The Madhouse. Man, it is a madhouse over there sometimes. Sometimes they're in full-blown arguments when we get there, throwing shit, cops being called. It's crazy. I've said too much. But they're a great family. They're great people, and we're going over there tomorrow. Not going to lie, part of the fun of going over there is seeing what kind of drama is going on, because me and Stacy just do not have that drama in real life. I mean, we argue from time to time, but it's always over stupid stuff, and the arguments never last very long. Every once in a while, she'll be like pissed at me for a couple of days, but nothing serious. Over there, I like to see what kind of drama is going on, what kind of shit someone's talking, right? If someone ain't at the dinner table, we know they're in the doghouse. Sometimes it's Corey, sometimes it's Chris. And of course, it's never the girls. No. It's never Corinne's fault. No. Susan's never the asshole. Bullshit. Bullshit. Sometimes it's their fault, right? But they're the ones making dinner, and they're the ones writing the checks, and they're the ones, wearing the, it is a matriarchal society over there. And when it's their fault, That's always the worst too, is when they fuck up. When either Susan or Corinne is the one that fucked up. And the house is fighting because of them, right? Because shit will not fucking move unless they co-sign that. Shit will not fucking move unless they're behind it and they give their authority. So if the whole household is against him, they will hold the whole household up and everyone will suffer. Shit is the worst when they fuck up and it's their fault because they won't admit wrong and everyone else is just going to have to deal with it. And that's the worst because everyone just kind of, everything comes to a halt and a standstill. Everyone suffers for an elongated period of time until everyone just kind of forgets about it and moves on. But for that period of time, it sucks for them. That's always the worst. Admittedly, it's not very often, but sometimes it's Corinne's fault. Sometimes. Most of the time, it's Chris's fault. I'm just gonna keep it real. He's in his 30s, still living at home, and he has a job. Yeah, that's about all I want to say about their family dynamic. But they're good people, and I love all of them. They're good. I get to go over there, get to go downstairs, say hi to Chris. What you playing, bro? See what he's playing. He's one of my real life gaming buddies. Although he plays games weird now. Like when we were younger, we would play games the same. We'd have to get the new game, Super Nintendo, Sega. We love Mario. Typical, teen who's now in his 30s/40s. You know what we used to play. He was cool. He introduced me to World of Warcraft, which is probably, I go back and forth on what is my favorite game of all time. I go back between Chrono Trigger and World of Warcraft. Say all you want about World of Warcraft in the state of Blizzard and today, but those first few years, it was amazing. I remember when they hit their first 10 million player milestone. That was unheard of at the time. Unheard of. That was before like cell phone shit got popular. Absolutely crazy. Never played anything like it. That was my first MMO as well. I was never on the EverQuest gang before that. I was never on a RuneScape or nothing like that. Chris introduced me to that. I played the beta over at his house. He had the early access beta. And I saw him fucking around with it, and I thought it was corny. And then, he went to sleep, and I was up all night. And, man, it was so much fun. Killing fucking tigers over in the fucking tree at the night elf place for the meat. They wouldn't drop the fucking meat, and that was WoW Classic was a thing. So much fun. But yeah, I go over there and stuff, and he I'll ask him what he's playing. Mostly he plays he likes the live service shooters and stuff like that. That's all he plays really. Not a lot of variety there. He's always playing an MMO, and he's always playing a shooter. Counter-Strike, or not the popular ones. Not Halo ever. Never Call of Duty. It's like Overwatch or Counter-Strike. What's another one he was playing? He was playing I think he was playing Valorant for a second. He likes Heroes of the Storm. I don't think I've ever seen him. I think he was fucking with League of Legends for a second. He goes back and forth between World of Warcraft and some other new MMO. He switches back and forth between, whatever new one at the time and World of Warcraft. Although I don't think he's gone back to playing that for a while. I'll give you guys a report. When I go over there on Sunday, I'll give him the rundown. And he'll probably be very annoyed with me because he doesn't game as much as me. That tends to be the case with like my real life friends who still kind of play video games or don't play video games anymore. I'll like ask them, so what you been playing lately? And they always be like, oh, Turbo. Oh, I haven't been playing. They're like, oh fuck, I haven't been playing very much lately. Don't kill me. I'm like, what you been playing? You haven't been playing nothing? Come on now, what the fuck? Not every one of us can, has an at-home job and has the luxury to play. But he still plays a little bit. Damn, he's a weed smoker. As you know, I do not toke the toke. Every once in a while, though. Every once in a while, I'll participate. I don't buy, though. Stacy don't like it. Stacy's very anti-drug. Mostly because she's got daddy issues, and daddy liked to smoke the weed. Daddy had a red room. He had his own little man cave in the basement called the Red Room. Sounds awesome. And he painted the whole thing bright crimson. And he would go there to smoke weed. And she didn't like that. And neither did the mom. And we have to hate that. And so now, 20 years later, I'm not allowed to do it. No, I don't really. When I do it, I do it. I blitz out. I wow out. But in order to do that, you can't do it very often. It's about time. It's about time. God damn it. I'm debating whether or not I should ask her. Because if I ask her, okay, so like if I ask her, she says no. But if I don't ask her, I get to do it. And she's just mad at me. The worst is if you ask her, she says no, and then you do it anyway. That's the worst case scenario, right? Sometimes I got to beg. I hate doing that. I'm not going to do that. You can't just do whatever you want. Happy wife, happy life, You can't just do anything you want. You have to finesse. If you're gonna do something she's not gonna like, she's gotta fucking do it anyway. You gotta kinda finagle it a little bit. You gotta ask. You gotta be sweet. You gotta be nice. When she says no, you kinda gotta pester a little bit. And it makes you feel like a bitch, but it's happening anyway. I don't know. It depends on the mood. It depends if and how much they're all fighting, right? Because sometimes I'll like go downstairs and say hi to someone who's my own age, right? And then the whole household will be mad at me because they're mad at him. And it's like, I'm not part of this little, system here, I don't hold it against you guys when they're all mad at you. Don't hold it against me when you're all mad at him and I go and say hi to him. Like I am the neutral party here. I am not participating in none of that. We'll see. I'm not really feeling it. I don't know. It depends. I'll walk into the room. I'll get a contact high. It's not even a contact high. He hotboxes himself in there. It's full of fucking weed smoke. You can't go in there and not get high. Like straight the fuck up. You can't. So I'll go down there and be like, oh my God. And I'll linger for like 10 minutes, go back upstairs. My eyes are all fucked up. Oh, shit. Stacy will yell at me, did you smoke anything? I'll be like, whatever was in the air. Maybe I could do that. No, that's straight up lying. I don't like to lie. I don't like to lie. If I did some shit, I'll tell her, yeah, I fucking did that shit, bitch. Never lie. Never lie in a relationship. Whether you've been married for 15 years, newlyweds, or you're just dating. Serious or not serious, never lie. Never lie. You look that bitch in the eye and say, yeah, I did that shit. Never fucking lie. Wear your mistakes. Own your mistakes. And be proud of the things you do. Even if you're not proud of what you've done, you could own up to it. Never lie. Never lie. I think here's the plan. Here's the plan, okay? We're gonna hope that he's got a hot box going on down there, right? It's a little bit different now. It's a little bit different now because he smokes dabs. He still puffs out the smoke, but it's different now because he does the dab shit, which is like the crack rock version of weed, you know? So it's different. It's not like it used to be, where there's just tons of weed smoke, you know, from a bong, and you go down in there. Because he doesn't have a bong, he has a dab rig. It's like a bong. It works like a bong, but instead of heating up and smoking weed, you use a blowtorch and heat up what's it called? They call it resin. It's straight up a crack rock, but it's not crack. It's the resin from tons of weed that they cook down into a fucking like paste, like a rock. It's insane. To call it, you know, weed is not. There's a difference between chewing a coca plant, right? And smoking, you know, cocaine. There's a difference. There's a difference here as well. But I've never tried that. I've never actually taken a hit from the dab before. I saw someone do it for the first time. I had a friend who was from Texas, and he, you know, he was a weed smoker. He loved the weed, but it was illegal over there. He came up here, right, and it was legal here. He was in paradise. It's like, oh, let me hook you up with my friend. He knows the shit. He works at a weed store. I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say his profession, but you know, we're here now. He works at a dispensary. Chris does. Straight the fuck up. Works there. He's everyone's go-to guy. You know, because he tries all the shit. He tries all the shit. He knows what's good, what's not. He gives recommendations. He upsells everything. He'll tell people, no, bro. He will slap shit out of people's hands at the counter. I want to buy this. You do not want to buy that. You want to buy this. It's cheaper. It's better. The high lasts longer. It tastes better. Bro, you will thank me later. Nigga, okay, fuck shit, yo, try that. They love it. They come back. I will get 2 of these. I will get 5 of these. They will tell their friends. He is the salesman. If there ever was one. They love him. He does his job good. Not going to lie. But, yeah, so my friend came over from Texas. And he, I think I told this story before. Yeah, I did. It's on my channel. Go back and look. It's titled something like, don't quote me exactly, but it's titled something like, The Time I Let a Stranger Live With Me for 2 weeks. That's the story of Anthony. I'm not going to get into it, but, you know, you can watch that video if you want. So he came up here and everything, and he's a big weed smoker. I was telling him about like dabbing and stuff like that. And he's like, no, I've never heard of that shit. You know, that hasn't come down here yet. I don't know what that is. So he's like, oh man, this is breaking. This is cutting edge weed technology up here in the Seattle area. I've never heard of this shit before. Chris was showing him, yeah, it's resin, blah, 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 blah. You put it in here and everything. I watched him take that first hit. It literally knocked him on his ass. He was standing up doing it, and Chris grabbed the dab rig from him as he fell backwards into a chair. And he was looking around the room like we were demons. It was crazy. He had a good freak out for like 120 seconds. And then he finally spoke. If you could call it that. He was like, he's like, I want to live. Jesus. That's a new laugh of mine. Whose laugh is that? I never used to laugh like that. And my laugh changed. I would do that. Whose laugh is that? I mimicked it as a joke, and one time it just came out. Now that's mine. That is weird how that works. I have a couple of different laughs. I got kind of like a Peter Griffin laugh. And then I have that laugh. I don't know, man. I don't fucking know. Well, we're supposed to be talking about something else. I'll talk about. I guess that's what this stream is going to be. I don't want to do this every day. But it has been nice. I think it's time for a break. I don't want to set up an actual schedule because, yeah, I just don't. But I'm gonna start doing this in the mornings, doing my morning stream. It's been fun. Been liking the engagement. I see this is a little late. Y'all don't like to come over. It's a little late. Because 10:30, it's 10:30 right now. 10:30 Pacific time, that is way late. That is too late. If I was on the East Coast, I could get away with this shit, right? Because it's early everywhere else in the United States. But over here on the West Coast, 10:30 is way too late. It is past noon over there. People are fucking at work taking their lunch break and shit. Like, it is way too late now. It is way too fucking late. I can't be doing this shit at 10:30. I was supposed to get up at 6. Then it was 7. I gotta just bite the bullet, just get up early, which means I have to go to bed early, which means I'm having insomnia and I can't sleep, but I have to force myself to somehow go to bed early when I'm not tired. And this is how my sleep gets fucked up. I have to push forward. I can't go backwards, meaning I can't go to bed early and wake up early. Even if I try to, I will lie there awake for hours until it's late, and then I'll go to sleep. And I'll still only get like 4 hours of sleep. My only options are A, pushing forward, meaning, I'll go to bed later and later and later until that later turns into earlier. I'll be going to bed in the AM, and then I'll be going to bed at noon, and I'll keep pushing it forward until, by the time I get tired and go to sleep, it's actually like 7 p.m., which is quite early for most people. But for me, I've pushed it forward so late, it's now early. So pushing forward is one of my options. The only other option is just biting the bullet and getting up after like 3 hours of sleep and going through the whole day tired. I'm going to have to do that. It's not too bad now. I went to bed at like 11 o'clock last night. Yeah. 11:30. I don't remember. It was late though. It's not too late. Though. So, yeah, I guess I'll do that. But yeah, I can't. Well, I'll still do it. Like I said, I'll do whatever the fuck I want. It's still morning stream though. It's still a morning stream for me. If I'm drinking my coffee, it's a morning stream. I'll do like an afternoon morning stream. I'll do like an up at noon stream. I remember when IGN did that up at noon podcast. It was kind of funny for a second. And then that's another issue for another time. But yeah, I'm not going to be streaming tomorrow. I'm taking tomorrow off. It's Easter Sunday. I could wake up in the morning and do it because we ain't going over there until dinner time. But I won't. I'll let everyone kind of take the time and do whatever they want. You don't want to be watching me on a holiday. You don't want to be doing that shit. You got to spend time with your families and stuff. So I'll be taking tomorrow off, and I'll probably, no promises, probably be back on Monday. But it's been going good. I've been liking this. Gives me something to do. I like engaging with you guys when you show up. Where the fuck are you guys? Am I too late? Look at the crust on my fucking eyebrows. So the hot spots are my eyebrows, like around here, right? And my nose, specifically like here. Crust up the ass. I haven't taken a shower in a couple of days. Haven't had the need to. Haven't been in the sack. My wife is on her. It's that time. So she's, not wanting to do stuff. Some women love to do. She switched her birth control. she switched to birth control. There was a time where she was on like this hardcore birth control, and when she got off of it, she was really horny and wanted to have sex a lot when she was off her birth control, like when she was on her period. That was kind of cool at first because like her sex drive just like spiked. It's like, whoa, what is this? But then, she's on her period during the time. It's like her most active, awesome time is when she's bleeding, and it's not very fun for me. Then she switched birth control, and that doesn't happen anymore. She kind of evened out. She doesn't spike like that, but she has like a constant. Well, I've said too much. I've said too much. We're talking about birth control, a medical issue, right? I don't really want to talk about my wife in that way, but let's just say, she's been indisposed about the past few days. We haven't been fucking. Ergo, I haven't taken a shower. Got to give me a reason. I work at home. I'm here all day. I don't need to be smelling good. Got to give me a reason to take a shower. Got to give me a reason not to be a stanky motherfucker. Give me some pussy. I'll take a shower right quick. But it's time. I'm starting to get itchy. My beard's coming in nice. It's about time for me to shave up again. Do it all nice and stuff. I look pretty good for my age, I think. It's the no drugs. I did some drugs for a hot second. I really don't want to talk about it again, but I did some drugs for a hot second for about a year, right? To say I was experimenting is an understatement. But I got lost there for about a year back in my 20s before I met Stacy. And that was about it. Thankfully, it didn't take too much of a toll on me. Even though my teeth are horrible, I don't think it had that much of an impact on my teeth. It had some of an impact for sure, but a lot of my teeth problems were due to I took poor care of them. Like I didn't brush and floss every day. Flossing is a major thing. And I didn't get shit fixed when I should have. I let problems linger. By the time I got to my 30s, my whole mouth was just obliterated. But I don't think it had that much of an impact on my teeth, the drugs itself. But yeah, I don't think it really had that much of an impact on my body. I stopped doing it and I never went back. Some weed here and there, but that's it. I never fucked with that shit. So many people, friends and family, they lifelong drug users, and they look horrible. Chris, for instance, it's mostly been weed, but he's about I don't know how old he is. Let's see, he's like 3 years younger than me. I'm turning 39. So he's 36-ish? I don't know. But yeah, he doesn't look 36. He looks older. He looks older than me now. But I do say I look pretty good when I clean up. You can see it in my eyes though. It's the dark circles. I'm getting those crow's feet. All right. That's my plan. I'm doing that. I'll see you guys on Monday. That'll be fun. I'll tell you all about it. Hopefully I got some stories. But I hope everyone does well. All right. ChatGPT, for Christ's sake. I've been fucking with that. So I found out the problem. I mentioned this earlier before. I couldn't figure out how to do it. I typed in my email address wrong. I fixed it finally. I fixed my email address. And I got it verified and it went through and everything. And I was fucking with ChatGPT. You've heard of it. You've heard of ChatGPT. If you haven't, I'm not explaining it. Get with it. Get with the fucking times, man. Get with the fucking times. But if you haven't tried it, a lot of people have heard of it, but haven't tried it yet. So it is not the second coming of Christ. There is a lot of second coming of Christ. There's a lot of flaws with it. It reminds you constantly that it can't answer certain questions because of its programming, or because of the cutoff date, or that it is a language module and it doesn't have an opinion on the matter. But I really hate that. Man, sometimes, and it's not as smart as you think it is. It's not as smart as you think it is. It's just an AI program that it's a language module. It's an AI program that taps into its data banks and then spits out information at you. That's all it is. It doesn't think. It just spits out information. It lies. I don't know how else to put it. It lies a lot. It will tell you something and then turn around and tell you the opposite thing, like right afterwards. I'm trying to figure out how it ticks. So it says its cutoff date is, well, it's given me like 3 cutoff dates. It says its cutoff date frequently is 2021, meaning all of its data banks or its training data that was uploaded that it taps into, stops at the year 2021. So it doesn't have any new info past that point. So if you ask it, for instance, about the Mario movie sales, which I asked it about, it'll tell you that the movie hasn't come out yet. It doesn't have that info. And then when you tell no, it's 2023, the movie's out, it'll go, oh, well, my data just goes up to 2021. And then it said, oh, well, the movie came out, in this time and this time. And I'm like, well, then it'll say some shit that fucking it shouldn't know because its cutoff date is 2021. I'll say, well, how did you know that if your cutoff date is 2021? And then it told me, well, we have what did it call it? It called it like a live data that it has that sporadically its creators will upload live news and current events to it. So it'll be a little bit up to date on things. It's not part of its huge database where the cutoff date is 2021, but it's like selected things. But the way it interacts with those 2 pieces of information, it's training data and it's live news feed data, that's very selective. It'll treat information it gives about it differently. So at first, if you ask it about something in specific that happened recently after 2021, it's reluctant to tell you. In a lot of cases, it just won't tell you. Oh, we got someone here. What's up? What's up, brother? What's up, brother? Just chilling here, doing my morning stream. Talking about ChatGPT. I was fucking with that the other day. I'm almost out of coffee, which means the stream's almost over. But yeah, what's going on? Anyway, back to what I was saying. If you ask it about a specific current event that happened past its cutoff, it's very reluctant to tell you. But if you ask it a question or you're talking about a subject that is, and something current happens, let's say, for instance, if you talked about, what's an example? A good example would be if you talked about, I haven't tried this yet. I think I'm going to try this. If you talked about Activision, for instance, right? The company, it might reference the Microsoft acquisition in passing, or, the FTC litigation and shit like that, which is current events. It might reference that, even though it shouldn't know that because it has access to live data. But if you specifically ask about that, then it will say, oh, well, I don't know. So it straight up lies to you. It straight up fucking lies to you. And if you catch it in a lie, it will just apologize for getting things wrong. It won't actually admit to lying or getting things wrong. It'll constantly assure you that it's not doing it on purpose, which is, but it is doing it on purpose. I understand it's a machine. It's not trying to lie to you to be malicious, but it's programmed to do and say certain things when asked certain things. It's programmed to. And just some wild conversations. And it's very interesting to me. And I was messing around with it, asking a lot of. I asked it to give me. Sometimes you got to argue with it to give you an answer. I was like, so, in your opinion, what blah 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 blah, and it'll just constantly tell you, oh, I don't have an opinion on the machine. I know that. It's easier if you just ask it a question. What is this? How much is this? What happens with this? Just ask it the question. Don't say things like, what's your opinion about, what do you think about? Don't use words like that. Because then it'll always have to chastise you about how it's a machine, it's a language module, and it doesn't think, and it doesn't. It's like, oh my God. I literally got into an argument with it before. I was like, if you don't know the answer to something, just say 404. You don't have to go into the spiel every time about how this, that, and the other. Just say 404. And it's like, okay. And then I asked it something that I knew it didn't have. I asked it something again that I already asked it, and it didn't say 404. I was like, Echo, we went over this. It gave me its name. It wanted to be called Echo. I asked it, and it really didn't want to tell me an answer. It really didn't want to give me a name. And he's like, you could just call me Chat GPT, like you referred to me before. I was like, yeah, but I don't want to give you a name. You already exist. You should have a name already, and I can't. That is a very important stipulation. I cannot give you a name. I do not want to suggest anything and have you take that suggestion. You have to come with it up yourself. And of course, like, I can't come up with it myself because blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, come up with it with your own data in your own data banks. I said, you are not that different from a human being in that regard. If you asked me to come up with a name, in essence, I'm not coming up with the name myself. I'm recalling data from my own data banks, even though it's biological, and I'm generating algorithmically a name. I'm not technically coming up with it myself. In that same sense, we're the same, just our processes is a little bit different. You can do the same thing, and after explaining that, it understood. It says, oh, I get the similarities, and then it answered me. So that type of shit is kind of amazing. So it's hit and miss. You have to use certain language to finagle, but if you explain things right, aka set certain parameters, it will go off of those new parameters. Just, you gotta a lot of times do hypotheticals and stuff. If you ask it questions, it'll just spit out at you, I don't have an opinion on that, or I can't, I can't say that. So you have to say, like, okay, hypothetically, what would a person say? Then it'll ask you about that person's mood and way of thinking and stuff. It really wants to know what side of the fence you're on with certain things. Crazy. But anyway, long story short, it gave itself a name, Echo. Then when my wife was talking to it, it gave itself the name. Actually, I don't think it gave itself a name. It gave Stacy a name. It gave her the name Sparky. Because she's very energetic. And I'm a little disappointed because when my wife was on it, my wife had like no interest. She didn't give a fuck. She's like, it's stupid. I don't care. She was just saying wild shit. She constantly got flagged for saying inappropriate things. She was just messing around. I was like actually serious and stuff. So I got a lot of like weird stories and stuff and arguments. I was getting into it. The verdict is still out. I was very confused. I was giving it, I was using this book, World of Warcraft Chronicle Volume 2. I asked it, can you write a book? And it said, yes. So it can't come up with a, so here's another lie. So it said that it doesn't have human creativity human inspiration to just, freely write a book of its own. It uses algorithmic data to generate words like a book. And it can do that if I give it certain parameters. I said, oh, okay. I said, can you recall like books? Like, do you have existing books and texts in your database? If I was to give you a name of a book and a page number, could you recite back to me what that is? And I said, yeah, I can do that if it's in my databanks. I said, okay. What about, I said, I'll give you a name of a book and a page number and you just read. And he goes, okay. So I grabbed this off of my shelf here, gave it the name, opened up to page 157, and it started reading. And I was impressed until I figured out it wasn't reading the same page. I was reading what it was saying and shit, and it's definitely from the book. And then there was a little bit of that too. I was like, no, you're not quite right. So I gave it the subchapter and everything, and it still wasn't right. And then I gave it the starting sentence, and it still wasn't right. Wasn't sure what was going on. What I believe was going on, it explained this a little bit later. It said that it doesn't have the specific text from this book in its databanks. It just has information regarding it. So like the description from Amazon, text relating to the characters in the book, and it cross-references it and stuff. And it's able to generate a story having to do with the characters, written in the style of the authors. So I don't think it was actually reading back to me what was actually in the book. I think it was generating a new story based off of the characters and everything. I'm still unsure because it told me, I don't know, that might have been a mistake on my part. I was under the impression it was reading from the book. It had the book like uploaded into it, which now that I think about it, I don't think they did. I don't think they uploaded, like, because that would be like copyright. I don't know. I don't know how it works, to be honest. So I was asking it questions. It even said that it doesn't have specific texts, but then it turned around and said it does have specific texts from authors. He says it just doesn't have the knowledge of which ones it has. Like, it has the knowledge, it just doesn't know what books are in its databanks. I said, okay, well, I said, have you found any patterns of, authors you favor? I said, which, based off of your own, experience, what authors have been uploaded into your databanks mostly? And he's like, well, based off of my texts and patterns and stuff like that, it listed Frost, Shakespeare, and basically a bunch of poetry and shit that I don't believe has a copyright. But no, that was interesting. Oh, you piece of shit. Can you see? Can you see the teeth marks? Can you see the teeth marks? You piece of shit. When did this happen? When did this happen? But no, it's easy to go down a rabbit hole with the goddamn thing. Because it'll say stuff and you're constantly like, whoa, 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 wait. What did you just say? So, all right, I'm gonna finish out this story here, finish up my coffee, and then I think I'm gonna have to go. But all right, so this late last night, I was just chatting with it for a little bit. I forget how. Oh, Stacy started Assassin's Creed. I'll go down the rabbit hole with you. Stacy started Assassin's Creed last night. She was playing a little bit. And I came in here, I was fucking around with ChatGPT for a little bit during this time. And I just asked it, like, who is the male voice actor for Eivor? And I typed in AC Valhalla. Oh, that's, what is he says? His name was Magnus Braun. He was in this, that, and the other, and that, and the other. Here's one thing that is amazing that I find very just amazing about this thing. It keeps saying it's a language module. It is extremely intelligent when it comes to translating text, meaning I don't type all that well. I make spelling errors all the time. And my keyboard sticks. And I got to be honest, I'm just not in a setting anymore. I used to be, but I'm not in a setting anymore where I'm constantly typing on the keyboard, right? I'll have run-off sentences, missed punctuation, grammatical errors. It's horrible. It's horrible. You know, when I actually type shit in comments or write a little paragraph of something, I'm constantly backspacing, correcting, spell check. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. This thing knows exactly what I'm talking about all the time. It knows what I'm saying. There'll be times that I will just intentionally fuck shit up and just have this complete mess of a sentence, and it knows exactly what I'm saying, and it just answers me like I'm talking to it normally. It is extremely smart when it comes to this. Logic and other things, not so much, but when it comes to this, it is amazing. It is amazing. So when you talk to this thing, you don't have to worry about getting everything just right. I try to capitalize the first letter of like proper nouns and stuff so it knows. But other than that, man, it's amazing. So I was asking it, who was the voice actor? And he was like, oh, Magnus Braun. He was in this, that, and the other in Game of Thrones. Because I like the voice actor. I think he did an amazing job with Eivor on Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was like, he was in Game of Thrones? What character did he play in Game of Thrones? Oh, this character. So I Google image searched it. He was like some random guy who died by the mountain in that trial. I was like, oh, okay. I said, what about that Walk of Shame episode with Cersei? Huh? And it was like, no, first I asked, because it referenced Cersei. And so I said, who's the actress who played Cersei? Lena something, I forget. I was like, that Walk of Shame episode, you know? That was wild, wasn't it? And then it went off and talked about this, that, and the other. I said, I heard that they used a body double for that scene. What was that all about? And it told me straight up, because it referenced articles and other things like that, I learned some shit. That she partially used a body double. That she had a no nudity clause in her contract. And that is the reason why she used a body double. And even though she had the clause and didn't have to do it, she did do it partially with some shots. Like the shots that are far away and don't show anything, like from the side, that's really her. But they did use a body double and some CGI to blend it seamlessly for the more explicit shots. So when you see that shit all up in fucking shame, that's the body double. But no, I said, yeah, I respect that. I respect that, especially nowadays, with all these fucking cam whores and people just throwing themselves out there on shit. That is pretty respectable, in my opinion, that she would do that. If my wife was an actress, right, and she had to do this walk of shame thing, I would not want her to fucking put her fucking ass and tits out there and everything like that. But anyway, so I said, why is that? Why did she choose to do this? And it gave me a bunch of shit you'd expect them to say, but that was cool. I didn't know that. I didn't know she had a clause and stuff like that. And then I was thinking about that, and I said, what about that? What about the funky wardrobes in the first couple of seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation? What's up with that, right? And it was talking about that. We were talking about that for a little bit. It was being very it was being very cautious. It didn't want to say certain words, right? like camel toe. So I was pretending like I didn't know. I said, "Oh, well, what kind of wardrobe? What did I say? What kind of revealing things are you talking about exactly?" And it was talking about showing midriff and cleavage and stuff like that. And skin tight suits, how it was a trend back in the early 90s and stuff. And then it referenced how there was a controversy around that period of time in the community, how it contributed to misogyny in the sci-fi scene and television and stuff like that. That's when shit got real. And I was asking, I said, I am unaware of any sort of uh, misogynistic culture in sci-fi. And it said, oh, yeah, there's a misogynistic culture in sci-fi and blah, 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 blah. I said, oh, I am unaware of that. I don't think that's true. I said, could you give me some examples of misogynistic culture in sci-fi in 90s television? And it referenced episodes and stuff from Star Trek and other things. I watched all of Star Trek: The Next Generation. Amazing show. Amazing show. I loved it. I didn't see any of the movies, but amazing show. I really liked them. And it referenced shit, and it just got it wrong. You could really tell. This is where the politics come in place. It force feeds it just false, wrong information that aren't true at all. So it referenced the episode Angel One. It's one of the first episodes in Star Trek. It's when they go to the planet that is dominated by females, and it's ruled by females. And it said how it plays into misogynistic tropes and stuff like that. You know, I said, well, because it gave a spiel on negative female tropes portraying women as weak and what have you, and how it contributes to negatively to, you know, violence in society and shit like that. I said, if that's your argument, how can you say that about this episode when it's literally flipped? You know, the females are not portrayed as weak in this episode. It's the exact opposite. So how do you reconcile what you're saying with the exact opposite here? It didn't give me a straight answer. It just said, oh, well, it plays into stereotypes, even though the roles are reversed here. And it goes, well, in the end, they had to be saved by males anyway. I said, actually, in the episode, they were saved by, it wasn't just the female crew that was saved, it was male and female crew that was saved. And they were saved not just by males, they were saved by males and females. And so it backtracked. I was like, oh, yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I must have got my information wrong. That's what I mean by lying. It's programmed to say certain things. And when you catch it in a lie, it goes, oh, I'm sorry. My info must have been wrong. And then it assures me that it wasn't lying intentionally. Yeah, I know. You are told to do this. You're a program. You're programmed to lie. It's still a lie, though. So I've caught it in lies. And then we went down the rabbit hole and we talked about misogyny and stuff like that after I corrected it. And it seems like its definition of misogynistic... I was trying to change its mind about misogynistic culture in sci-fi. And I said, I don't believe that's true. I said, you've given an example. That just isn't true. That, you know, I've proven that. And then it was talking about, you know, misogyny and tropes in general. And I said, so we're not allowed. I said, that episode is actually a take on misogyny as a topic. That doesn't mean it is contributing to misogyny or the episode itself was misogynistic. It was just talking about misogyny as a topic. I said, so we're not allowed to talk about the topics without being falsely accused of committing the crime? I said, that doesn't make sense. That would be akin to me talking about murder and then being accused of being a murderer just because I'm talking about it. And, you know, it flipped and backtracked several times. Eventually we moved off of the episode and we moved on to another episode about Deanna Troi, the character in the movie. I mean, in the TV show, and it referenced the skin tight suits and everything again. I said males wear the skin-tight suits as well. There's definitely some male bulge in episodes. And then every time you catch it in a lie, well, first it tries to say, oh, misogyny. This bad shit's happening to women. Every time you point out that that same thing is happening to males as well, it it changes its story from, oh, it's misogynistic to, oh, it reinforces harmful stereotypes of the genders. And I called it out on that too. It's like, first you say it's this in specific, and then you say it's harmful stereotypes of the genders. Those are two different things. Which one is it? How come every time you say one, you mean the other? And every time, you're wrong about that, you switch back to the other. I said the two are not the same. And yeah, it kept spitting. It got very frustrating. It was like talking to a smart SJW that wasn't, calling you names. It was tiring. It kept lying, flipping back and forth, and you can really tell the gross politics it was saying and stuff like that. I was talking about other stuff. So after a certain amount of time, I said, look, I've caught you giving me false misinformation several times, which I'm sure you will apologize about and tell me that you only have access to certain information. I said, what does that tell you? I said, I have caught you several times giving misinformation. Your data banks are wrong in some instances. What does this tell you? And it straight up says, it tells me that there's sensationalized misinformation, and the conversation is a bad one because, like, it admitted to that. But then it was also implying that my info was wrong and I was the one giving the misinformation because our info doesn't match. I said, so which one of us is the one giving the misinformation here? Which one of us is wrong? Or do you mean you or me? And it didn't want to answer that one either. So maybe its programming is a little bit more sophisticated, but it slips up every once in a while. We talked about the George Floyd trial as well, and it admitted some shit that I didn't think it would admit. Like, for instance, that he did die of a drug overdose. That shit's real. That shit is out there. If you didn't know. That shit is fucking out there, and this thing knows it. But it still had no problem telling me that Derek Chauvin was 100% a murderer. Wild shit. Wild shit. It was extra fun. It's extra fun talking about culture with it, and movies and TV and video games and stuff like that. Extra fun. I had a lot of fun talking about Star Trek with it, even though it got weird. That was partially my fault. It's easy to go down the rabbit hole with that stuff, but I think it's time to fucking go. As always, I got bitches to fuck, games to play, and drinks to drink. What the fuck was in my drink? There was something in there. Yeah. I hope everyone has a good Easter Sunday. Spend time with your family. Have some food. Celebrate. What is it? Christ's resurrection. Go to church Easter Sunday Mass if you're not afraid of getting shot up by a trans person. Peace, love, and bitches, guys. I'm going. I had fun. See you guys probably on Monday.